Welcome back. Today we're unlocking the secrets of the Lincoln Wheat Penny, one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. Minted from 1909 to 1958, these classic cents may look ordinary, but some hold rare dates, errors, and hidden value. You might just have a small fortune hiding in your change. Let's find out. 1950. Lincoln Wheat Penny Coin. Without mint mark, coin condition good. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a classic and cherished piece of mid-20th century American coinage. This coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, represents not only the enduring legacy of the Lincoln Cent series, but also the post-war optimism and industrial growth of the United States during the early 1950s. The absence of a mint mark confirms its origin from the Philadelphia Mint, as that facility traditionally did not include a mint mark on Lincoln cents during this period. The obverse of the coin features the familiar and iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The portrait is detailed and crisp in a well-preserved example, and your coin being in good condition means the features such as Lincoln's hair, jawline, and coat detail remain clearly visible, even though some minor circulation wear may be present. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," arc above Lincoln's head, "Liberty" is seen to the left, and the date 1950 is to the right of his profile. The clean and balanced design of the obverse continues to stand the test of time and remains deeply symbolic of American ideals and historical memory. Turning to the reverse, we see the celebrated wheat ears design, which gives the coin its popular nickname, the Wheat Penny. This design, also by Brenner, features two stylized wheat stalks curving along the left and right edges of the coin. Between them, the inscriptions read 1 cent and United States of America, with the phrase e pluribus unum curved at the top. A coin in good condition like yours will still show this classic wheat detail relatively clearly, though some softening of the lines from circulation may be visible. From a historical perspective, 1950 was a year of transformation and growth in the U.S., and coins from this era reflect a post-World War II society moving confidently into a new age. The Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for over 4 decades by 1950, and it continued to serve as a fundamental part of everyday commerce. Millions of these pennies passed through the hands of Americans during a time when the nation was investing heavily in infrastructure, technology, and suburban expansion. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 272 million Lincoln cents in 1950, making this issue relatively common. However, condition plays a crucial role in collectability and value. A coin in good condition, like yours, may not command a high market premium, but it is still desirable to collectors looking to complete a circulated wheat penny set or to preserve a tangible piece of American history. Coins like this 1950 penny are appreciated not just for their monetary value, but also for their craftsmanship and historical context. Each one is a miniature artifact from a particular moment in the past, and when held in the hand, it serves as a direct connection to the people, places, and events of that time. The good condition of your example enhances this connection, allowing more of the original artistry and detail to be appreciated more than 70 years after it was struck. While it's not rare, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny holds intrinsic collector interest. Collectors often seek out coins with strong eye appeal, even in circulated grades, and a clean, well-preserved coin from 1950 without distracting marks, heavy corrosion, or significant damage can easily find a welcome place in a collection or educational display. Additionally, Lincoln Wheat pennies are often passed down through generations, introduced in starter coin collections, or discovered in old jars and drawers, making them a nostalgic and accessible entry point into the world of numismatics. Tutit. Summarize, your 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition is a respectable and collectible coin. It stands as a representation of the U.S. Mint's consistent production quality and the long-standing popularity of the Lincoln cent design. With clear details, minimal wear, and its connection to a pivotal period in American history, it continues to capture interest among coin collectors and historians alike. 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny coin without mint mark coin condition circulated. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is a humble yet powerful reminder of a time in America marked by growth, prosperity, and patriotic pride. Though small in size, this coin carries with it decades of stories, transactions, and pocket changes. And the sheer fact that it has survived nearly 70 years later is enough to command both attention and admiration. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the absence of a mint mark, the 1956 Wheat penny had a massive mintage. Over 420 million coins were produced that year alone. But don't let the large mintage fool you. What makes any vintage coin valuable is the condition, the story, and sometimes the luck of striking errors. And even in circulated condition, there's still excitement, especially for collectors who know what to look for. Let's start by appreciating what this coin really is. A tribute to Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who guided the nation through its darkest period, the Civil War. Victor David Brenner's design, introduced in 1909, was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and not just any person, but the man who preserved the Union. His right-facing profile on the obverse remains one of the most recognizable designs in American numismatics. Even in circulated condition, the profile of Lincoln on your coin, likely, still shows moderate detail. You can usually see parts of his cheek, jawline, and hair. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1956, remain clear even after decades of circulation. That alone is impressive when you consider how many pockets, hands, and cash drawers this coin has passed through. Now, flip to the reverse, and the story of America's agricultural pride shines through the iconic wheat stalks. The design, which gives the wheat penny its nickname, features two stylized sheaves of wheat curving upward to cradle the bold words "1 cent" and "United States of America." At the top, you'll see "E pluribus unum," Latin, for "out of many, one." That phrase hits differently when you realize how deeply it reflects the American spirit of the 1950s, when unity and post-war optimism were at a high point. Now, let's talk about value, because this is where things start to get surprising. In average circulated condition, a 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark might fetch around 10 to 20 cents. Not a life-changing amount, right? But here's the twist. Certain rare varieties and errors from this year have sent collectors into bidding frenzies. Double die obverses, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks, RPMs. Even though this one has no mint mark, RPM errors are still sought after in Denver coins of the same year, have fetched hundreds, even thousands, at auction. For example, some 1956 Lincoln Wheat pennies with strong double die errors have sold for over $2,000, and in pristine, uncirculated, red condition, even without errors, this coin can go for over $7,000 if it grades at MS 67 or higher. Imagine finding a coin like that in an old coin jar or inherited stash. It happens more than you'd think. Even circulated coins like yours hold emotional and historical value that often exceeds the metal itself. Think of it. This penny could have paid for a gumball in 1956, a candy bar in the 60s, or perhaps been part of a child's allowance in the 70s. It lived through the space race, the moon landing, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and even the invention of smartphones. It's been part of history, just like the man it honors. Collectors of all ages, but especially those 50 and up, find a strong connection to these older coins. They represent not just money, but memories. Holding a 1956 wheat penny brings back moments of simpler times, a childhood spent counting change, or grandparents pulling coins from pockets and telling stories from their youth. So while your 1956 Lincoln wheat penny in circulated condition might not be worth a fortune in dollars, it's absolutely priceless in the context of American history and personal nostalgia. And who knows? If it has a rare mint error hiding in plain sight, it could be one of those wow discoveries that turns ordinary into extraordinary. One thing's for sure, a coin like this, with character and history worn into every scratch and groove, is far more than just copper. It's a piece of America's past that somehow, after all these years, found its way to you. 1937, Lincoln wheat penny coin, without mint mark, coin condition good. Here we go again, another treasure from a time most of us only know through old photographs, black and white movies, or stories from our grandparents. The 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark isn't just another piece of old change. No, this coin is a survivor from the tail end of the Great Depression, when America was clawing its way out of one of the toughest economic periods in modern history. And somehow, against all odds, it's still here. Let's start with the obvious. 1937 was a significant year. Franklin D. Roosevelt was in office, the country was recovering economically, and the world was inching closer to the turmoil of World War II. Yet, in the middle of it all, this humble 1-cent piece was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it doesn't carry a mint mark. Over 309 million of these were produced. But don't let that number fool you into thinking they're all common or worthless. Far from it. This particular 1937 penny is in good condition. And for a coin that's now over 85 years old, that's something special. Lincoln's bust on the obverse still holds sharp details. The bow tie, the cheekbones, and the solemn gaze that only the great emancipator could wear. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1937, are all clearly legible. That clarity alone adds a certain respectability to the coin, like it's standing proud after all these decades. The reverse of the coin is where the wheat penny gets its nickname. Two curved wheat stalks hug the phrases 1 cent and United States of America, while the Latin motto E pluribus unum arches over the top. In good condition, those stalks still show the individual lines of grain, a detail that often fades after years of circulation. That grain detail is what collectors love to see. It means the coin hasn't been overly worn down and has kept much of its original design integrity. Now, let's talk value. In good condition like yours, a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark might fetch between $0.50 and $2.20, depending on the eye appeal and the interest of the buyer. That might not sound thrilling yet, but hold on. Here comes the wow factor. Some 1937 pennies have hidden secrets. Yes, we're talking about errors, and when those show up, the value skyrockets. For example, 1937 pennies with doubled die obverse errors have been known to sell for hundreds. Even more dramatic, some off-center strikes or clipped planches, where part of the coin is visibly missing due to a misfeed in the minting press, have landed values in the 1,000-plus range. And then there are the true gems, 1937 pennies graded in high mint state condition, particularly MS-65 red or better. These have sold at auction for over $6,000. That's right, a single penny worth more than a brand-new big-screen TV. And it's not just collectors chasing them. Investors, historians, and nostalgia seekers alike jump in when these rare, well-preserved coins hit the market. But even without a headline-grabbing error or a flawless mint luster, your 1937 penny tells a story. It's been through more history than most people alive today. Think about it. This penny could have paid for a newspaper announcing the Hindenburg disaster, or been passed hand to hand in a smoky diner during the swing era. It's the kind of coin that doesn't just sit in a drawer, it whispers stories every time you pick it up. And for collectors, especially those aged 50 to 75, this coin is a memory. Maybe it reminds you of when you first started collecting with your parents. Maybe it takes you back to the days of penny candy, soda fountains, and riding bikes until the streetlights came on. Every scratch, every fade in color, every slight ding on the edge, it's all a testament to time. So don't underestimate this little copper coin. While it may not buy you a coffee today, its real value lies in its journey and the thrill of holding a genuine piece of American history. For anyone who loves stories, nostalgia, or numismatics, the 1937 Lincoln Wheat penny is not just worth keeping. It's a legacy you can pass on. 1944 D. Lincoln Wheat penny coin condition, some scratches. Now we're looking at a coin that has lived through one of the most intense periods in American history, the 1944 D. Lincoln Wheat penny. And let me tell you right now, this is no ordinary coin. This is a survivor from the year World War II. Was nearing its climactic end. It's from a time when American factories were producing tanks instead of trucks, and families were rationing everything from sugar to gasoline. And yet, in the middle of all that, the U.S. Mint was still striking coins, millions of them. This particular penny bears the D mint mark, which means it was minted in Denver. And despite being in circulated condition with some scratches, it still holds a rich story and unexpected value potential. When you hold a coin like this in your hand, you're not just holding metal. You're holding a fragment of 1944, a piece of American grit. Let's start with the design. On the obverse, you've got Abraham Lincoln's profile, his iconic image, carved with proud detail. The phrase, "In God we trust," arcs above his head. Liberty rests at the left, and 1944 stands to the right, with that proud little D right beneath it. Even with the scratches, there's something deeply powerful about this coin. Lincoln's gaze, worn but still noble, reminds us of the endurance of American values during uncertain times. Flip it over, and there's that classic wheat reverse design. 1 cent is bold in the center, with United States of America underneath, framed by 2 wheat stalks curling in from either side. Above it all, the Latin phrase, a pluribus unum, out of many, one. The wheat detail might be slightly worn due to circulation, and the scratches add a little history, but the coin still holds that striking classic design that collectors adore. Now, let's dive into the part that sparks curiosity. Value. More than 430 million of these 1944 D wheat pennies were minted, so they're not rare in the common sense. A well-worn, circulated version with some scratches might sell today for around 10 to 50 cents, maybe a little more depending on the buyer. But don't get discouraged yet, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. Where things get jaw-dropping is when we talk about mint errors. Some 1944 D Lincoln pennies were mistakenly struck on steel planchets left over from 1943. Yes, that rare transitional error. And if you happen to have one of those 1944 D steel cents, your penny could be worth up to $100,000 or more. That's right. One tiny wartime mistake turned into a 6-figure prize. And let's not forget about pristine, uncirculated examples. Of the 1944 D penny, graded MS-67 red by Professional Grading Services. These beauties, glowing with original red luster and perfect strike details, have sold at auction for over $10,000. That's a mind-blowing number for a coin most people would ignore in a pocket full of change. Collectors in the know are always hunting for these gems, and even if your coin isn't flawless, the historical value, nostalgia, and possibility of a hidden error make it something special. That's part of the thrill. Any ordinary-looking coin could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Think about where this coin's been. Minted in the shadow of a world war, possibly exchanged by a soldier returning home, or tucked into a child's piggy bank during the booming post-war years. It could have been in a grocery store in 1944, paying for a loaf of bread that cost just a few cents. It might have been carried across the country, dropped and found again, and now, decades later, it's in your hands. And for our older audience, those who grew up hearing stories about the war or collecting wheat pennies during their childhood, this isn't just a coin. It's a memory, a tangible link to the past. It brings you back to the days when every penny had power, and every coin carried a story. So don't look at those scratches as flaws. Look at them as proof that this penny has lived a life. It's been part of America's journey. And who knows? With the right eye and a little luck, this worn piece of copper could be your ticket to a stunning discovery. Because, in the world of coin collecting, history, mystery, and value can all come together in the palm of your hand. Here's a coin that's more than just old metal. The 1952 D. Lincoln wheat penny. This small copper coin could be sitting quietly in a drawer, in a forgotten coin jar, or passed over in change. But let me tell you, there's a hidden thrill here, a spark of history, and for some collectors, possibly a shocking fortune. The D mint mark tells us this penny was struck in Denver. In 1952, America was buzzing with post-war growth, TV sets were entering homes, and Dwight D. Eisenhower was elected president. But while all that history played out, over 746 million of these humble pennies were rolling out of the Denver Mint. And among them, some were destined for something more than everyday purchases. Some, like this one, would become relics of the past, now eyed with excitement by collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. Now, this particular coin is in rough shape. Circulated, yes, but also with a black rust-like surface that makes it stand out in the strangest way. Most Lincoln wheat pennies were made from a bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. They don't rust like steel, but exposure to moisture, dirt, and air over the decades can cause corrosion that gives the surface a black or darkened appearance. It's not pretty to most people, but to a coin lover, that black patina might mean the coin hasn't been cleaned or tampered with. And sometimes, that's a good thing. Let's look at the design. The obverse, even through the damage, still proudly shows Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. His calm, thoughtful face, a symbol of leadership and unity, is surrounded by "In God We Trust," liberty, and the date, 1952, with that important little D right below. The reverse still clings to the wheat stalks, one on each side of the big, bold 1 cent, framing the words United States of America. Even with dark corrosion, the coin tells its story, a tale of time, hands, history. So here's the burning question. What could a coin like this be worth? In worn, corroded condition? Realistically, not much. Maybe a few cents to $1 at best in everyday sale. But you didn't come here for realistic. You came for the what if, and that's where it gets jaw-dropping. Let's talk about high-grade versions of the 1952 D penny. If you find one in uncirculated condition, say MS-66 red, you're looking at values north of $500. Some top-grade certified specimens have even sold for over $2,500 at auction. That's already impressive for a penny, but we're just getting started. Now, let's enter the realm of errors. Imagine a 1952 D wheat penny that was double-struck, or one that was struck off-center, or, even more valuable, one that was mistakenly struck on a foreign planchet, meaning it was minted on the wrong type of metal disc. Some rare examples like these have sold for $5,000, $10,000, even $30,000 or more, depending on the error and condition. That's where the excitement shoots into high gear. That's the what-if every collector dreams of. What's more, this blackened, rust-shaded condition might just hide one of those valuable errors. The damage could be masking a rare strike or a mismatched planchet, and that's why having it checked by a professional coin grader can be a smart move. Because imagine the shock of sending in a rusty old penny and getting back a five-figure appraisal. That's not just luck, that's history paying off. And for many in the older generation, those who remember when wheat pennies were still in circulation, this coin isn't just about money. It's a journey back to the 1950s, a time of jukeboxes, drive-in movies, and classic Americana. Holding this penny brings back the smell of new newspapers, the feel of slick leather shoes, the sound of a nickel jukebox. It reminds us of a slower time, and for some, a better one. This coin may be blackened and damaged, but don't let that fool you. It's alive with the spirit of history. It's the kind of coin that whispers, "Don't count me out." Whether it holds a shocking error or just the warmth of 1952, one thing's for sure. This penny is worth more than it seems. In memory, in meaning, and possibly in money. All it takes is a little curiosity, a keen eye, and maybe a bit of luck.